You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you, see you, see you.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
In uncertain times, we could use someone to lean on. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma will stand by you with plan options to fit your budget. If you've recently lost your job, had a baby, or moved, you can still get the healthcare coverage you and your family need. Financial help may be available for those who qualify. Call 855-452-BLUE or visit hereforyouok.com to see if you're eligible to enroll. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, everyone, to another evening of He Said, She Said. I'm your hostess with, I guess, the mostest, Aggie, and with me is our awesome producer, Rick, who's filling in for our beloved Mickey, who's still out. How are you doing tonight, Rick?
I am doing all right. It's been a long week, but it's Friday. We're going to kick back, have a little fun, and, of course, we're going to be talking about higher education.
Yes. Oh, I see what you did there.
If educate, the funny thing is, I didn't even realize that was kind of where you were going today when I sent you one of the first things I sent you, because I saw from my former employer an interesting course that is available now. And then you're like, hey, let's talk about that. And then there's this and this. And I'm like, eh. So, yeah, in case you're wondering, higher education, the word high should now be put in quotation marks because they're now taking themselves too literally.
Oh, yeah. It's totally. And unsurprisingly, there is actually a class at a college that's devoted to that. So, but we'll cover that later.
Oh, so there's going to be higher education part 2. Okay, we can do that.
Yes, indeed.
Wait, is it? Wait,
yeah,
would it be higher education part 2 or higher education part 420? Asking for a friend.
420.
There we go.
420. But yeah, it's just, it has all of a sudden, and it has been in the past, I want to say the past decade. Now, this has been a norm for a very long time, because I remember when I was in college back in the mid-'80s, we had some weird classes available. But the way they did the weird classes was they would take something that was a cultural phenomena and would derive, something that was usable out of it. So, for example, quite possibly one of the best known takes is the physics of Star Trek. Several universities actually have a class on the physics of Star Trek. And what they do is they use the TV shows and teach the physics, the probabilities of the stuff that's going on in the show. And you end up actually learning about physics while talking about your favorite show. So it's kind of like you're tricking the student into appreciating an actual science while, using the disguise of their favorite show. And it works. I mean, they've done this with mathematics as well. And I believe biology. There was a class that was the biology of Jurassic Park, believe it or not. But it taught about prehistoric biology to students that grew up when they were little and they saw Jurassic Park and they fell in love with dinosaurs all over again. And so they brought that love and just made it more accessible in a different way to an actual science, so that was kind of cool. But those are what I call hoodwinking classes. They kind of hoodwinking you. They're hoodwinking you into learning about an actual, STEM class. Most of the time it's a STEM class, an actual science.
Yeah.
So they were kind of tricky, but they were fun. And you did come away with a lot of knowledge that was applicable in, for your degree or for your, elective courses or for whatever reason. But they have moved away from that. And now they take the cultural phenomenon and talk about the cultural phenomenon, and they disguise something else just so they can talk about the cultural phenomenon. So it's switched. It's an excuse to talk about the cultural phenomenon as opposed to using the cultural phenomenon to teach about an actual scientific or science or math or something like that. So I have found that flip to be it's concerning because in my opinion, it's not really education. Most of these new classes tend to be what they call, the soft sciences, the sociology, philosophy, anthropology, that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like this is just a way to get an easy A, and a lot of students see it that way. But it's also a way for the student to actually have a way to enjoy their favorite, pop icon of the moment. And let's go to our class so we can talk about this person or whatever,
Swifties of the world unite.
Yeah, that's probably the best example going around right now. Harvard has a new class that's based on Taylor Swift and her lyrics. And I'm not going to take anything away from that woman. She has done a phenomenal job of building an empire. I cannot take away anything. I think that she is very talented. And, you go, girl. But to teach a class under the guise of, her lyrics are, so profound and all that stuff. And there are a lot of literally references in her lyrics. And I'm going, so you're calling her a plagiarist? Okay, so she fits at Harvard. Okay. I get it. But they were talking about this particular class at Harvard. And the way that we're describing it, I was just like, this is just an excuse so that y'all can talk about Taylor Swift. This is a Swifties class. That's what it is. It's not talking about how this woman actually, breakdown of the lyrics and what she meant by these certain lyrics, and everything. I remember hearing Taylor Swift talking about one of her favorite lyrics, and she was so proud of that line. I'm your nightmare dressed like a daydream, or something like that. It's one of her lyrics. And she was so proud of coming up with that lyric. And I was like, damn, that is a really good line. It really was. But you don't need to teach a class around that particular verse. There's no, it's not like a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. I mean, that's Shakespeare. You can teach about that line.
So don't hate me. I grew up. I raised daughters. The song you're talking about is Blank Space.
Yeah, I know it's Blank Space. Whatever. Listen, I have heard every single song this woman has ever put out. Okay, I've been forced to. I am surrounded by sisters. I am surrounded by nieces. I am surrounded by females everywhere who love Taylor Swift. So yeah, believe me, I know it. I just try to forget it.
I still like the picture I sent you earlier.
Yeah. Should post that in the chat.
I will, but I'll have to do it from my phone. Hang on.
Oh my goodness, it was actually very good. I gotta say, but anyway,
I mean, they are just about that rabbit, especially anymore. So I'm just saying.
Well, and the thing is, that's not the only Taylor Swift class being taught. There's one at Texas State University. How do I know? Because it happened 2 years ago. The guy got approval to teach this as a seminar, and then it got picked up as a class. And this class, believe it or not, I don't know if you're aware, you actually go online and you register for your classes, The moment this class opens, it doesn't last 5 minutes before they have to close it, because 300 people have signed up for it. That's all that can fit in that particular class. It's 300 people. And it only gets taught once a year. So it's only in the fall semester, if I recall correctly. And it's, the guy that teaches it is a big Taylor Swift fan. There's a surprise. So, out on a lark, when he was doing the seminar, I decided to find out what was being covered in the seminar. Her lyrics, her songs, how she impacts people, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going, this is just an excuse for groupies to get together.
Well, so,
And the school gets to reap the benefits because they all pay for it.
Well, back to the Harvard one a little bit, because I actually listened to a little bit of that class today, and it terrified me, because first of all, you've got a chick with 3 in the tree, and I said what I said, standing there talking about Taylor Swift's lyrics, and at one point compared her to both Wordsworth and Chaucer. I'm like, what? What? No. What? No. But yeah, so for those of you who don't know what I mean by 3 in a tree, chick with a dick, just in case you couldn't figure that part out. Yeah, just saying. Because that was the first thing I noticed. I was like, you are either the ugliest woman ever, and then it spoke, and I was like, or you're a dude, and that just... She's actually, I've seen her without makeup.
She's not that pretty, but I don't think she's ugly. I mean, she's just... She markets herself well, let's just say. And whoever does her makeup does a fabulous job.
Well,
I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of jealous of it.
Are we still talking about Swift or the Harvard professor? I'm confused now.
Swift. Not
Yeah, no,
Harvard.
I was talking about the Harvard professor because that was rather apparent before it ever opened its mouth that it was a dude, and then it spoke and it removed all doubt. So
I love the fact that he was wearing over the knee boots into class, and I'm going to burn mine. I'm not wearing mine anymore.
Never wearing those again. The trannies have killed your joy. You're going to burn your boots now. That's kind of sad.
But it's like we were discussing, it's kind of a phenomenon that they're taking cultural icons, people who are in pop culture, and now they're making classes out of this. Now, I don't know what people are going to get out of this and how this is going to translate when they go out into the real world to get a job. It might be, if they're working at a karaoke bar, hey, they've got it made. But I don't see the value of this kind of class. And frankly, I think that a lot of the kids that are taking these classes are not just groupies, but they're looking for an easy A. They really are, because it's all interpretive. So, you remember the Rocks for Jocks class and, stuff like that, where a lot of the classes were dumbed down for the athletic department. In this case, it's kind of in the same vibe. And the thing is, the university approves these classes as actual college courses, which means you're paying for those 3 credit hours. And guess who pockets the money? So it's not like it's a losing situation for the university in a financial aspect, but in the aspect of, academia, this doesn't make the university look good. I can't imagine. It's just weird to me to do something like that.
I mean, they've been trying to intertwine pop culture and education for forever because they figured out how to make money off of everything. I mean, higher education has been a money grift for a very, very long time, and the government getting involved didn't help. Because then the schools were like, oh, well, if you're going to give them a grant for X amount of dollars because they're poor, that means we can charge them double the amount we were charging before. And that's and the funniest thing for me is because I used to work for a university. Wasn't allowed to say that while I still worked there, but I used to work for a university. And the funniest thing for me was finding out that even in Oklahoma, illegal immigrants, until Kevin Stitt got elected, got in-state tuition.
What?
I'm like, what? I was like, how is that even a thing? How is that even a thing? But yeah, until the current governor got elected, he's now halfway through his second term. University of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State University were both giving in-state tuition to illegal migrants. In a red state, when that story broke, it was almost kind of unheard of. So I really, couldn't believe what I sent you this morning when I first started reading about that either, but we'll get to that in a minute. I was like, they're doing what now? they're doing what now? But yeah, I mean, but this whole thing about commingling it all, it's just because they're trying to get the kids to come in and, take on debt and, be able to basically get a degree. And part of what's killed our higher education system, one, is these classes that amount to absolutely nothing that they're using just to try to draw kids in. So then they increase your requirements so that you can take more electives so they can draw you in, which costs you more money. And then on top of that, we now live in a corporate culture where they don't care what your degree is in, as long as you have at least a 4-year degree. It can be in underwater basket weaving, and as long as you've got that degree, you can get a job in a field making $125,000 a year. So the kids that do it the short, stupid way and learn absolutely nothing, get into the corporate world, start making bank, and the people that actually went to school to learn how to do the job can't get hired because all the kids that took the shortcuts got hired first, and none of them know what the hell they're doing. So then the company starts going under. The DEI thing has been around for a lot longer than anybody wants to admit. We just talk about it more now.
No, it has been. I mean, my alma mater has been undergoing a massive transformation, trying to uproot all of the damage that the DEI has caused in the past 20 years. This has been going on for at least one generation that I can trace back. Everybody thinks that DEI is kind of a brand new thing. No, this has been insidious, very slow, very methodical, and it has been going on for well over 20 years. And now my university is trying to uproot all of that. But the thing is, the damage is so cancerous and so far gone. I don't think that there's a way to actually remove all this stuff, because a lot of the people that are advocating it and still pushing it have tenure. You can't get rid of them. And so if you get rid of, you can get rid of the president, you can get rid of the chancellor, you can get rid of the dean of students, you can get rid of those people, but you cannot get rid of the professors. And those are the ones that are still pushing it and making it part of the curriculum in their classes and the syllabus and everything. So, it's just, the damage is so extensive. It's going to take at least another 25 years to completely turn it around, in my opinion. And these stupid classes are indicative of DEI. And I kid you not to compete with Taylor Swift. And I don't know if you guys are familiar, but Texas State's main rival is UT San Antonio. So what does UT San Antonio have? A class on Beyonce.
Oh, good God. Oh, let me.
And it's under the guise of Black feminism, okay? But it's literally a class on just Beyonce, particularly one of her songs.
Yeah, let me guess which. Oh, not the one I was expecting.
No, Lemonade.
Okay.
Now they have moved on, I think, but that's how it started.
Yeah.
It was just the one song, and you were dissecting that song the entire semester. Okay? No matter that the bitch told you what it was about already, okay?
Yeah, I mean...
The entire class had to dissect this song for all of 3 months. And it was the most ridiculous thing. And it was all focused on what she said in that one song. And I was looking at the curricula, and you could actually fail this class. And I was like, how do you fail a class when you're interpreting lyrics? But apparently the professor is a big Beyonce fan. And this is indicative of all of these classes. They're being taught by mega fans of that particular icon. Okay? Now, why can't we get an Einstein fan? Why can't we get, Max Planck? Why can't we get fans of that caliber to teach classes? No, it has to be Taylor Swift and Beyonce.
I'm still waiting for the Cardi B class.
I'm not gonna lie, that's probably in the works somewhere. I'm gonna be searching and on the lookout. As soon as it hits, I'm gonna be like annotating it. I mean, seriously, these and the thing is, Beyonce, Taylor Swift. There's a class on Miley Cyrus, the sociology of Miley Cyrus. That's at Skidmore College in New York, people, and they go through gender identity and race and theory and all that stuff on Miley Cyrus lyrics. And I'm like, why?
Well, I mean,
it's Party in the USA. How is that racist? I don't get it. I'm just like, whatever.
I mean, came in like a wrecking ball could be considered racist, or at least a home wrecker, if nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like, I do not understand it. I don't understand why the sociology, and it is part of the sociology department. It really is. And, I believe the Beyonce class is part of music theory, and Taylor Swift is, I think, part of sociology department as well over at Texas State. I'm not sure what department she falls under, but it's a cross-sectional class, so it can fall under several departments to qualify for the, whoever's needs an elective in that department type of thing. So, and it's just the one that kills me is the one I was telling you about. This one, Oregon State has a class, the philosophy of fish, the band, not the things that swim in the ocean.
Nice.
This guy, this is hilarious. This guy managed to convince both the Department of Music and the college to let him go follow the tour for the band and teach the class from the road. So
I mean, if you can make it work
online, he tells you when he's going to be online to teach the class. And he's teaching it at every stop that Fish did. And I'm like, so basically he got paid to go on to follow the tour.
So are we talking about Derek William?
I don't remember his name. I really don't. But I mean, that was an actual thing. I can't with that. How did this pass muster at the university as qualifying as a class?
Well, no, I just meant Fish. Are we talking about like the Fish that that uses a stage name? His real name's like Derek William Dick, or are we talking about somebody else? Because I was confused.
The band Fish, okay. PHISH.
Because I was going to say there's a performer that goes by Fish, and I didn't think we were talking. I didn't think that was who you were talking about.
No, the band PHISH, that one. And so I'm still stunned that Oregon State actually fell for this. This was a ruse, people. All he has to do is be online for an hour from the road to teach his class at every stop. So imagine if there's a tour going on and they have 23 days on this tour or whatever. And, that's, and if they have more than one, like if they're in Dallas and they have 2 shows, well, he only has 1 hour.
Yeah. Not
2 hours, so I'm like, this is like the easiest class ever.
Well, here's the kicker about this one, though, right? So he convinces them to let him do the class basically remotely through online learning. And he's basically a professor at this school, which means he gets to write off all his travel expenses, ticket expenses, all of it, while teaching
everything.
Class.
Yes. And Oregon State is completely fine with this. I'm like, how?
I mean, we are talking.
What do you
we are talking
learn?
about Oregon. They're all pretty much high over there now, anyway.
Well, the thing is, I took music theory and I took art theory because I needed a couple of electives, and I ran through all of my electives that I was interested in for my bachelor's degree, and I needed like an hour. Or I needed 2 hours. So music theory was 1 hour, and art theory was another hour, or whatever. And in music theory, you're like, and I was zoning out most of the time when I was in music theory. To me, it was just like, I get it. I play the viola. I understand. No, just because you play an instrument doesn't mean you understand music. I'm like, okay, fine. Make me understand it. It was the most boring class I had. But at least there was a certain structure to the class. And I did come away with a certain amount of knowledge that I used in my life, that I found handy, that kind of thing. But I don't see the value. And like I said, and some people, it's like, well, what about the physics of Star Trek? You're literally learning physics. You're learning something. This is an actual science that you're learning. What are you learning about, Lemonade? That it was a #1 hit? I mean, what? It just boggles the mind. The thing is, those are just a few examples of music artists that have classes where classes and actual bona fide college course is being taught to cover this particular entertainer, and it freaks me out because I mean, admittedly, it was really funny because one of the classes that I saw at Texas State in their curricula was American history through baseball. And I thought, what in the Sam hell? I was like, how does this even make sense? I sat through a couple of classes. I came away a believer because baseball, having been our pastime, the American pastime, there was a lot of history that was influenced by the game. And there was a lot of games that were influenced by history, and vice versa. And it was amazing to me how this class came about. But you learned both. You learned about the history of baseball and American history and how they related to each one. It was beautifully done. It was really well done. It was, it was one of those classes where, like, I really wish I could audit this entire semester. But, I lived like 45 minutes away, so I couldn't be traveling back and forth all the time. But it was a really cool class. I understood that. It was kind of weird at first to grasp in my head. But once I sat through a couple of classes, and I did buy the book so I could read it at home, and it was fantastic. It was great. I really enjoyed it. But Beyonce?
So when I realized that we were going to be talking about basically, the overlap between pop culture and college, I found something else that I thought might be interesting to talk about too, because UC San Diego has a course called the Exploring the Science of Harry Potter. Yep, it's an actual course.
Oh my.
What you will learn: discuss evidence of genetics in the Harry Potter stories, explore which fantastic beasts are most realistic, understand how science realism makes the impossible seem plausible, look at the science behind potions, class in the books, and do science behind potions class in the books, and also do a chemistry experiment, identify herbs and in herbology class, and learn about the attributes and medical applications of said herbs.
Oh my God! I took that class well before Harry Potter was even a thought in J.K. Rowling's head. I'm serious. I took that class. That's an actual class at Texas A&M, and it falls under botany, and it's herbals. And I learned about all of that stuff that you just spewed, except for the animals. That was covered in that class, and it was awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, guess what? You took the Exploring the Science of Harry Potter class before there was an Exploring the Science of Harry Potter class.
I think CERN just broke us.
Well, I mean, we were talking about the physics of Star Trek. I mean, Star Trek has time travel as a feasible thing. So for all we know,
this is true. But I can see, and this is something. But see, that class makes sense to me because you're actually taking a cultural phenomenon like Harry Potter. You're using that to teach those, adults taking that particular class that it was derived from actual things, actual scientific things, actual biology, actual herbology, actual stuff that actually happens in real life. So that makes sense to me. That's what I call, like I said, the hoodwink class. That's what that is. I don't see any value, absolutely any value, on taking a course on Miley Cyrus. I just don't. I can't make it work in my head.
I mean,
and to see. I don't know if you saw that TikTok of the Harvard class for Taylor Swift. The girls talking about it and how excited they were because they get to talk about Taylor Swift and all this stuff. And I'm listening to the girl. They sound 13 years old. These are supposed to be our brightest going to Harvard.
Yeah.
They're at Harvard University and they sound like they're 13.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Harvard University isn't really the home of our best and brightest anymore either. So,
well, that's true.
Just for giggles, I also ran a search on online pop culture courses, and apparently there are a lot of colleges that offer free online pop culture college courses. So I don't even know why some of these people are paying for them. One of them from Smithsonian Institution, Star Trek Inspiring Culture and Technology. From, hang on, what the hell is the name of that school? I can't read it. Signum University, Lord of the Rings, known as the Tolkien professor, Dr. Corey Olson, used his expertise to create this 3-part college course on hobbits, wizards, dwarves, elves, and the One Ring. You'll study the famed fantasy novels in depth through a series of free podcasts. University of Pennsylvania has one free course on Hollywood and the film industry. I hope it covers the casting couch, because apparently that's pretty common. Wesleyan University's Understanding Memory, explaining the psychology of memory through movies. Then there's Michigan State University. I mean, some of these actually make sense. University of Rochester has History of Rock. I actually would probably enjoy that class. Now, this is my favorite one. Davidson College. Are you obsessed with the internet? Believe it or not, you can study memes like Salt Bae or Kombucha Girl. This online course, which describes memes as a new folk art form and even asks students to create their own memes.
God, Orty should be teaching that class.
Well, I think he might be already. MIT has a free class on games and culture, posts several courses on its free MIT Open Courseware site accessible to everyone. This course in particular probes into digital games, spectatorship, and performance. There's a society and culture section, which has classes offered by Duke University. Art of the Modoc, Activism and Social Movement. Sports and Society, also Duke University. Television and Film, Harvard University. The Real Game of Thrones.
Wow.
UCLA's Youth Culture and MTV Technology, History and Politics. But that's offered by their film and television department, so I can almost kind of see that one. Brown's University, Channeling Race, Television and Race in America. University of Texas at Austin, From the Mind of Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele, writer and director of the critically acclaimed films Get Out and Us, has a knack for creating horror films with sharp social commentary on race privilege. This course analyzes his work.
I admit, for not being a horror freak, I really enjoyed Get Out. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, actually, I like that one too. I hadn't seen the other one yet.
I haven't seen Us yet.
They kind of snuck that one in on me because I watched it before I really read about all the commentary on it, and I was like, that's not nearly as bad as they made it out to be, because it's basically, it's a serial killer movie. Come on, they don't care about color.
I think I want to say, isn't Matthew McConaughey teaching a film class at UT now?
I didn't see anything pop up on that, but we can find out.
I thought he was, or he had done so, but I was pretty sure that he was an assistant professor, or not with tenure or anything like that. Action, maybe. But there are some classes though that
Professor McConaughey, what Matthew McConaughey teaches at his film class at UT.
See, told you. I would take that class. Not gonna lie. Just to sit there and just look.
I was going to say, you're just waiting for him to stare into your eyes so you can turn into a puddle. Don't lie.
No. He's got a good skull. Look at it.
Spoken like an anthropologist.
Tell me that boy does not have a good skull. I will call you a liar.
I have never actually really paid that much attention to his skull, and since I'm not an anthropology major, those things don't interest me.
It's my vibe.
Oh, okay.
It's my brand.
So this is funny. It's a related article from the website I pulled this up on was on People, but it has a related article. So it says related video. Matthew McConaughey once rapped for 13 hours straight after accidentally smoking Snoop Dogg's weed.
Wow.
I've had some good strains of weed, but I've never had one that's made me want to rap for 13 hours. I'm just saying. Anyway.
But, outside of the song people, the music artists that are inspiring all of these courses, for lack of a better term, there are some courses out there that are pretty odd. And I gotta say, the number one this one just stands out. I mean, really stands out. There is a course at Occidental College, and you guys can go look at Occidental College and look at all their courses. This is not the only weird one they have. This is not the only weird one they have, but it stands out. They have I can't even say this with a straight face. It's called the phallus.
Speaking of 3 on the tree.
And it needs absolutely no introduction. But it's not about the human body. It's about everything erected, yes, I use that word on purpose, that tends to be very phallic in symbolism. And yeah, they go through the whole skyscraper thing. There are some skyscrapers that are more so than others. And in particular, the Transamerica Tower in San Francisco tends to be more phallic than, say, the Sears Tower.
Well,
I don't know what it's called now, but the one in Chicago.
Well, all I'm going to say about San Francisco buildings being more phallic, I mean, it is San Francisco.
It is San Francisco. But it's not just buildings. They do, geological formations. They do cairns. They do sculptures. And not just, anatomically correct sculptures, but sculptures, just odd sculptures here and there. Like even Claes Oldenburg actually gets a mention about one of his sculptures. He was famous for sculpting everyday objects, like a stubbed, one of his more famous ones, I forget the name, but it's a stubbed cigarette. And it's huge. It's like 9 feet long or something like that. But it's a crushed stubbed cigarette. And that's one of the ones that they use in that particular class as a phallic symbol. And for some weird reason, they think that this is indicative of sexual torture. I'm going, it's literally somebody was stubbing out a cigarette because they were no longer smoking it. How is that sexual in any way? But that's how the class is done. So all of these phallic symbols that you see all over the world, whether they be done by nature, done by architectural design, in sculpting, in art, whatever. And it's not just made out of stone or concrete or glass or whatever. I mean, trees, mountains are not exempt from this. So, it's a very extensive course.
I mean, well, as a meme I put out a few months ago, illustrated icebergs aren't free of it either.
No, they take that iceberg meme that I have posted before that looks like a peen. Yeah, that one. They use that one in that class, to show that even Mother Nature has a good sense of humor, I suppose.
You know what that was? That was Mother Nature telling all the greenies to fuck off.
Yeah, but and it's amazing because they don't consider trees to be phallic symbols unless they've fallen. Then they become phallic symbols. So I'm like, pretty sure if they're erect, it's more of a phallic symbol than down. But okay.
Well, no, they're just saying since the tree's fallen, they need that there's pills for that. I guess I don't know.
I guess I don't know, but I mean, this is it. Like I said, it's not the weird. It's not just the only weird class at Occidental College. Santa Clara University also has a few weird ones. I was looking at their catalog and I was like, yeah, I can't talk about this.
Come on. It's just us.
They do have a really cool one, which is, the beauty of trash. beauty of garbage. And
Wait, there's a class about
it
my
is
ex-wife?
part of-
Oh, wait, sorry, my bad.
It's a class. And what it does, it shows you the beauty of recycling and using trash as treasure, as, using it in everyday, excuse me, everyday art, using it to, in your garden, using it, what the stuff that you can find in trash, you can actually reuse in several different ways. And so it's part of their environmental studies department. And being somebody who has dug through her trash or other people's trash many times, to salvage furniture, I can understand this class. Now, there are limits because I am not going to ingest anything that I find in the trash. I can't, there's a block for me. I cannot go past that. The thought of getting a bacterial infection and dying just kind of throws me off a little bit. So,
yeah, not a fan.
But they do talk about taking foodstuffs and recycling them so that you can ingest them later or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. And I'm sure that there's a good science behind it. There's a mental block. But that you can take stuff out of the garbage and actually compost it. You can you can recycle a lot of what you find in garbage. So that class to me actually, as kooky as it sounds to a lot of people, it actually makes sense to me. Because you can reuse a lot of things. And I still, the parquet containers, that's good Tupperware, man. I will reuse this stuff forever.
Damn it, now you've got me thinking of old commercials from when I was a kid.
But, so they some people may think of it as a cookie class, but the thing is, it actually teaches you conservation. So this is one way, and it reminds me a lot about feeding little finicky kids, where you had to trick them into eating healthy food. And I'm sure that you're you see it all the time with your grandchildren, where you have to trick them into eating something or whatever.
Oh yeah, all the time, unfortunately.
It's the same thing with certain college courses. That I keep coming back to it because it was glorious. The physics of Star Trek. This was tricking people who had absolutely no thought about physics. They didn't care about the science behind it, but they loved the show. But they wanted to know how it worked. Okay. And that's how you trick them into actually learning a science. And in a way, the beauty of garbage in a way is doing the same thing. It's encouraging people to look at discards in a different way. Now there's some garbage you just can't do anything with.
Yeah, like my ex-wife, for example. Oh wait, my bad.
But I thought
Maggie's
it was
like, on that note, I'm taking a drink. I ain't even gonna say nothing.
yeah, I did take a drink. But so I can understand that class. That to me, I honestly would encourage people to take something like that. I would encourage people to take American history through baseball. That was actually a really cool class. The concept behind it was solid, and you ended up learning about American history in a brand new way. So there are, some education out there. The new ways of teaching it are really fresh and re-engaging, especially in a society that has fallen to social media, which is the biggest misnomer I've ever used. Social media is absolutely not social. You're completely trapped in a laptop or a cell phone. You're not actually socializing outside, with people. You're doing it through a phone. So I think it's a way to re-engage people, and it works. And maybe that's the concept behind these Taylor Swift and Beyonce and Miley Cyrus type of.
Well, there
But
are
I just don't
others.
see it.
There's actually a course at Duke University dedicated to Selena, music, media, and the Mexican American experience.
Wow. Okay. So I'll be the first to admit I grew up in an area where Selena was very famous, and I grew up listening to her stuff. And from the beginning, from when she started with Los Dinos, that was the name of her band, and she would stop at the same Whataburger that our orchestra would always stop at. So we had seen her. You know, we would see her every so often, and she would talk to us and everything. And she did a lot for Tejano music. I will say that. But I don't see why they would use her to teach about the Mexican experience, considering she died at 23. She didn't have a long. Her impact was, true. It was in music, but it was for a very short period of time.
And
There are other artists that you can choose from to teach the Mexican experience, and I don't see people doing that. But I guess if you want to engage people, you do it with whatever they know, and bring them in that way.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
So what the hell is going on with Texas State University, by the way?
The list is too long. There's a
have-
reason why it didn't. You know they changed their name, right?
No.
Their original name was Southwest Texas State University. They had to change their name in order to clean up their image because they were the biggest party school in the U.S.
Well, I don't think that's changed much because they have another course I just found, Harry Styles and the Cult of Celebrity, is being taught at Texas State University.
The Harry Styles one. Yes. I was going to bring that one up. Harry Styles. And I'm like, why? That guy is not a guy. I mean, even he says he's non-binary. And he's like...
Just say nuts, it's shorter.
He's nuts. But yes, they have a course on Harry Styles at Texas State. And apparently it's very popular. I don't know why. I can only think of one song that I know of his. And I don't even know it very well. I just kind of remember the tune because it was very popular on Reels on Facebook.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I know it.
So another interesting one that I found, global hip-hop culture, hip-hop, race, and social justice from South Central to South Africa. That one is being taught, big surprise, at the University of California, Los Angeles.
There's a shock. Now, you and I are very close in age. And you remember back in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a surgence of black directors, black movies. I mean, you had Juice, you had New Jack City, you had South Central, you had Boys in the Hood. You had all of these really good movies about that.
Yeah.
They went away. Did you notice that? I mean, it was like this big explosion, and everybody was like eating it up. Like there was not a single bad movie. All of those movies made money, hand over fist.
Yeah, and then they just stopped.
And then they just disappeared. John Singleton was probably one of the best directors to come from that era. I don't hear anything from him.
Well,
is he still even alive?
I'm not sure, but there's a reason why. So what happened was, through rap and hip-hop, before it turned into what it is now, and what it became around that time frame, people were starting to become more familiar with the African-American culture. So they started trying to do things like, the movies that we talked about. But there was a decision made at one point with a lot of the rap labels where they went from, talking about issues that mattered, talking about families, talking about this, that, and the other, to all being a bunch of gangster rap. There was an order that came out that just said, from now on, this is pretty much all you can rap about. Everybody's talked about it, from Ice-T to Snoop Dogg, all of them. And then, just one day they decided this was all we could do. So eventually we found other shit to do. But that was around the same time they started killing all those movies. And I think it goes back to some of the same things that we've been talking about everywhere else, not to overlap too much. But it's because there were bridges being built, and they can't have that because they need us fighting with each other.
I think you're right, because you can actually see that in Spike Lee movies. You can see the turning point to where the bridges were being built and then they were taken away. And I mean, Jungle Fever was a great movie. Girl 6 was awesome. Seriously, I watched a lot of the lesser known Spike Lee movies. A lot of people don't know Girl 6. What? Oh yeah, Girl 6 was about a phone sex operator. And it was great because, you know, it wasn't just about what she was doing on the phone. It was about her life and why she ended up being a phone sex operator, and how she juggled everything and all this. It was a really good movie. Jungle Fever was excellent. It was Annabella Sciorra and Wesley Snipes, and they were having an affair. And when Wesley Snipes tells his friend Spike Lee, yeah, she's white. What? He freaks out on him. And everything. But it was a really well done film. He had, seriously, gosh, what's the one with Danny Aiello?
Oh,
Forty, help me. I know.
It's right there.
I know it's right there.
Like it's right.
Five words, and I can't for the life of me. But that was a great film, and all of those films were really good. And then there was something happened, and then his films became very racially motivated. Like,
well,
when they were pushing one race against the other, and I was like,
they became a lot more racially charged, and that was around the same time that rap music changed. I mean, I grew up, you know, when rap was just really starting to become a thing where everybody was hearing it. I mean, it was around for probably about 10 years or so before I ever started listening to it. But I mean, I grew up, you know, Run DMC.
Do the Right Thing.
There we go. That's the one.
That's what it was. Do the Right Thing. That's the one.
That's not.
Do the Right Thing. And School Days. Remember School Days? That was another good one.
Yeah.
All of those movies were great.
But yeah, I mean, you know, like Run DMC back in the day, they had really good rap songs, and they actually had messages, and they weren't, you know, we're gonna do this to your girl, and we're gonna do that to your girl, and you're gonna like it. And then Beastie Boys came out, and the first time I ever remember a bunch of white boys rapping. Eminem thinks he was the first one. He wasn't.
No, he was not.
But yeah,
I think the first rap song I ever heard was Blondie.
Yeah.
Rapper's Delight. I mean, seriously. So.
But
so Teresa Randall. My God, she is gorgeous.
But yeah, it was just.
Sorry, Ordy and I are having a personal.
No, it's all good.
But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like at some point the marching orders came out and everything stopped being about bringing people together, and it all started becoming about tearing people apart, and nobody's ever looked back.
And it's sad because there was a lot of healing going on. There was a lot of, you know, understanding, and not just the understanding of the Black community, but understanding of the white community as well. And interspersed in that was the Latin community, which was looking at both of them going, are y'all going to look at us? Because look at us now. I mean, I remember that. Every so often there'd be an Hispanic character in one of Spike Lee's movies that was going, I don't understand you people. And it's true. You know, I cannot say that I understand the Black experience, just like I cannot say that I understand the white experience. I never will. It's not my experience. I can learn from it and I can observe it, but that's all I can do. You know, I just wasn't born into it. So these movies helped a lot. And I don't know if you remember, there was a movie called Crash. I was just talking about that today too. And it came out.
I vaguely remember that one, yeah.
Yeah, it came out quite a while ago, and it was a lot of big names were in it. Brendan Fraser was in it. He was married to Sandra Bullock. Martina Sirtis was actually in it. Marina.
I was
excuse me.
going to say Marina Sirtis.
Yeah. Martina is actually my friend, my therapist friend. So I always get confused. But, you know, and when that film came out, a lot of the critics were really pissed off about it because it was the ugly side of racism. Matt Dillon was in it. But it also showed how all of these stereotypes existed, why they existed, and how they came about.
Damn,
and
it had
even
a big cast. I forgot how many people are actually in that movie.
Yeah, it was a huge cast. And even though all of these people had certain very bigoted feelings towards certain groups and everything, in the end, they realized that their bigotry was curdling their soul, and they began to heal from that and walk away from that bigotry. Some did. Some actually accepted the bigotry and fell back into it, even worse. So it was a really well done movie. And of course, everybody hated it.
Well, of course.
And I was like, this is a great movie. And my sister's like, how can you like it? I'm like, because that's life. I've seen this shit go down. I've seen this stuff. This has happened.
So for anybody, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but before I forget, anybody, since we're talking about this movie, if you don't want to watch it, apparently it's available for free on Pluto TV. It is, you can rent it on Prime for $3.99, iTunes for $3.99, and Apple TV, if you have it, has it for $1 if you don't want to watch commercials on Pluto.
But there was a time when there was no need for these classes, none, and now you're seeing these classes, getting the pop icon and making a class built all around that. And I can guarantee you, the Beyonce class, there's no healing going on. If anything, it's more divisive. Well, yeah, I mean, not just against whites, but against men, because it's only that song.
Yeah.
Well,
that's why I kept saying I'm waiting for the Cardi B class so they can dissect WAP. Just saying. But I mean, it goes back to what you were saying a minute ago, like, when with the movies that were coming up and the white culture and the black culture and then the Hispanic culture kind of mixed in the middle, you still have an entire group of people, not to steal your language for a second, screaming "Mira me pera," and now they're all being mean to each other instead of learning from one another.
I'm crying. Okay. All right. I'm okay. Go ahead.
I thought that would get you. That's why I wanted to try to work it back in, because I tried to get it in earlier and you kept talking, so I just figured I'd figure out a way to work it back around.
Okay. So anyway, now that I'm discombobulated. But the thing is, when you and I went to school, I don't remember having to take a class on any kind of empowerment, whether it be women empowerment or Latin empowerment or Black empowerment, any kind of empowerment at all. It was understood that if you wanted a higher sense of self-esteem, you had to work on it. That was nobody else's job but yours.
Well, yeah, but that's back when things like rugged individualism were still being taught. When people said, if you want to make changes in your life, figure out how to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and do it. Now you use phrases like that and you're racist. And I'm like, no, we're trying. I mean, I'm going through the same thing with two of my kids right now who I still will have to find. I mean, they have developmental issues. One of them is about to be, let's see, how old is she about to be? 29, and the other one is about to be 28. And I will, in some respects, have to take care of them in some regards for as long as I'm here, which is why I'm starting to work on getting trust and everything else set up so that when I'm not here, they're still okay. But I'm still having to teach them how to be self-reliant, and they hate me for it because it's not anything that I really worried about before, because at some point we honestly just assumed that they would just kind of start growing out of it and start figuring things out, because they never really seemed like they were that far behind, and now it's like at some point they got stuck and I didn't notice. So now I'm having to like teach them, these are things you have to do because I'm not going to be here for forever. I'm 50 now, guys. I mean, even best case scenario, I've got 40 years left and probably only about 25 good ones. And that's best case scenario. And that's what I keep trying to tell them, but they don't understand it because mentally they're like 14 to 15 years old, even though they're almost 30. So it's been a real struggle, especially for the last couple of years, to teach them all the things that used to be taught by default that aren't taught anymore. And that's why you didn't ever hear about Black empowerment, Hispanic empowerment. Nobody talked about Black History Month, Hispanic History Month, because history's history. It involved all of us. Most of us were here. We were involved, or our relatives were involved. But it's just become this giant game of division and subtraction, because the more they can keep us screaming and yelling at each other, and the more that we're looking at, instead of looking at equality, which by definition basically means everybody has the same chance, but we can't guarantee your outcome. And then, or now they've shifted it to equity, which is the same outcome regardless of your chance. And that's why things have gotten the way they are. And that's also why we have all of these stupid courses now that make absolutely no sense. Which, if you couldn't tell yet, I was working to segue into the one that I had sent you. Because, University of Oklahoma. University of Oklahoma. The place I used to work. I saw this today, and I swear to God I almost had a stroke. They have, and I shit you not, they have a course tied to Agenda 2030. The thing that's basically talking about how we are the carbon that they want to reduce. OU's online MS, why they didn't just go ahead and straight say BS. Just saying, double entendre. In sustainability covers topics aligned with UN's 2030 agenda for sustainable development. And the course and degree program runs for anywhere between 18 to 21 months.
Wow. Okay. So that is very concerning.
Well, so it gets better, right? So the coursework aligns with UN's Sustainable Development Goals, which are tied to UN's Agenda 2030, focuses on areas such as clean water and sanitation, economic growth, responsible consumption and production. Otherwise, please make sure that you produce more potatoes than you consume, which, by the way, is communism. Climate action, innovation in industry, and infrastructure. And this is in Oklahoma. Just want to make sure I've made that point clear. This is Oklahoma.
I was wondering about that because I have a friend who is what they call a sustainability expert. But what she does is she studies the toxicity of items that are used in buildings and in how they impact the environment. So that kind of sustainability, I understand. This kind, I do not. This is completely different.
Yeah, this is, again, just to dumb it down for everybody, this is teaching students why they are the carbon the UN wants to reduce. I don't really know why that's, but anyway.
It amazes me that this, and this is a graduate course, correct? This is for a master's?
Yeah, this is master's.
So I'm wondering.
I'm pretty sure it was. I think it said MS, which, if I remember right, is like a Master's of Science degree.
Yeah, Master's in Science. Which begs the question: what kind of degree do they look for in order to accept you into that master's program?
I don't know. I actually didn't. I didn't click on the link. I just sent you the screenshot, so I could probably find out, but it might make my head explode. It's been showing up for me all day now since I sent it to you, so if I scroll down for a second, it'll probably show up again. Yeah, no, not it yet. That not it yet. That not it yet. Let me just Google search real quick. It'll be faster. I didn't say everywhere. Okay, I specifically said University of Oklahoma, so why are you showing me degrees everywhere else? Good. Concur. Google is failing me tonight. It's probably because I've been doing more searching lately than I have in a long time, and it's probably like, I want a night off, bitch. Let's see. No. It's not. Why is it not pulling up? No, that's weird. They have a whole sustainability program you can sign up for called the Crimson and Green, which is a terrible idea, by the way. Red. I mean,
wow.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So unfortunately, environmental excellence, EPA Green Power Partnership, Princeton Review Green Campus, Green College, Bicycle Friendly University. I mean, there's lots of stuff in here, but not what I'm looking for. I don't know. Maybe OU Agenda 2030 might pull something.
Well, while you're looking, I found a really cool course at a university or college that I think everybody here would enjoy taking. It is called Cannabis 101, and it teaches you all about that wonderful little plant, how to grow it, how to market, the rules and regulations that come with it, this dispensary side of it. I mean, it teaches you everything. And it even teaches you about the pitfalls if you do not adhere to the laws when it comes to it's agriculture, I suppose. So it kind of rounds everything out. And that one is at Oaksterdam University. I have no idea where that is, but apparently it's a very popular class. And that university actually spearheaded the whole teaching about cannabis thing. They're like very proud of the fact that they're the first university to have a class devoted to cannabis.
If Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong are not honorary professors to that course, I will be very disappointed.
Right? They really should be. But yeah, I was looking at it going, there's no fucking way this is real. There is no way this is, yeah, it's real. That's an actual class. And it's very in-depth. I mean, they cover everything from agriculture, harvesting, all of the state's rules, regulations, the federal government laws, transport, what is legal to transport, how, what is considered, what the law looks for to weigh. So I did not know this, but apparently not everything, if they catch you with a bag of marijuana, not all of it will be considered marijuana. So the stems will not weigh against you or whatever. So they actually have to have somebody to take everything apart, and only the things that count as marijuana, I guess the buds, the leaves, I don't know. Only those count. And those are the ones that get weighed. The sticks, the stems, all of that gets tossed away. It doesn't count. So I had no idea about that. I don't partake, so I have really no idea of this. So I'm reading about this, and I'm like, this is really an education. There's a lot that I didn't know. But, like I said, I don't partake of that particular herbal refreshment, so to speak. So I'm really in the dark about, all of this stuff. So this class actually explains all of the minutiae that most people that have actually partaken of it already know. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know why you need a class on it, but apparently it's very popular. People seem to dig it. And I think it should have been called Cannabis 420. Like you said. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm saying.
But, I thought that class was interesting. And maybe this class, maybe some other colleges will actually get into that whole thing, because it's actually an economics class. I believe it's listed under their Department of Economics, but I'm not sure. But it does teach you economics. It teaches you how to balance the books. It teaches you how to do the ledgers and, keep track and all that stuff. And I'm like, this is that kind of shit you should know outside of cannabis. You should do for all your other stuff, So it's actually a really cool class in that respect.
Yeah.
Because, when we were in high school, there was a class on teaching you the basics of adulting, balancing a checkbook, how to keep track of your debts, how to, the differences between a bank and a credit union, the different types of savings, the differences between a savings and a checking account, those kind of things. There was an actual class in high school that was devoted to that. Yeah. And, you watch all these ads about Chime and, I don't have to worry because Chime does it all for me. And I'm like, chick, you should still worry. You should do it on your own too.
Yeah, I'm just saying, don't trust the computers. But yeah, no, the perfect name for that course we were just talking about, by the way, is high in quotes -ER 420 or higher ed 420.
Yes.
Just saying.
That is perfect. Yes. But I thought
any universities with campus degrees with cannabis degrees that want to hire me for marketing, my email is just kidding.
At first I was like, I can't believe this class exists. And then the more I read about it, I was like, I can't believe this class does not exist elsewhere, because it really was teaching you about, personal accountability with your money. Yeah. And how to handle a business, because that's mostly what it was about. It was about the business side of cannabis. And even when you're taking business courses, they don't teach you this kind of stuff.
Nope.
They do not.
Nope, they don't.
So
they don't teach you most of anything you actually need to know in school anymore. But this goes back to what we were talking about, bridges were being built through entertainment and culture, and they tore them all down. Same thing with education. They were teaching people how to be self-sufficient, and the government can't have that. Because if we're self-sufficient, we don't need them. It's kind of like the same reason why they never actually fix anything that they keep campaigning that they're going to fix. Because if they actually did their job, eventually they would work themselves into obsolescence. But instead, they just have us screaming and yelling at each other because they don't do anything. And then it's always the other party's fault.
And with that, the most glorious class that I have come across in my my time, reading about the weirdest classes out there. This class came about as a result from a writing prompt in the Department of Writing, a class in the Department of Writing at USC. And it is called
Man. Oh wait, sorry, my bad.
The writing prompt was to take 5 selfies from different points of view and then write a a paper detailing how each different side, each different angle, either made you feel or, why it was better, whatever. You had to write about those 5 different angles. The class became so popular because of that one prompt that they made a class on selfies. It's literally a selfies class.
I don't know. I take terrible selfies, so I should probably take that class.
I was like, please, dear God, don't let it be how to take a better selfie, because I can't deal with that shit. I can't. No, it's actually, you take selfies and you study the art of the portraiture and how it has developed through the lens from the time that photography came about to, currently where you're taking it with your own phone. So, I can kind of understand that, but it's mostly about selfies rather than photography itself. And it's they call it the study of portraiture, but there was, portraiture was actually a very elevated art form when because photography was so expensive that the photographers had to know what they were doing. When they took a photograph, there was no room for error. So to compare that with selfies that you can just erase and then just redo, it's kind of ridiculous. But I can see where it's going about the portraiture thing and how portraiture has changed from the point of where before, say in 1904, a person just sat and was still for like 10 seconds until the picture was taken, to now where a person can hold the object, the camera, at different angles until they find the portrait that they prefer. They can enhance the portrait. They can de-hance the portrait. Things that back then a photographer could not do. So in a way, I can understand where they're trying to go with this, but it's mostly a selfie class. So I'm like, I'm trying to work it in my head, but it's still just an ego trip. Really, that's what it is. And I say this as someone that, yes, I have taken selfies before, but I don't take that many because I don't like taking selfies. Now, my sister, she calls herself a selfie hoe. I mean, she will do it every day. And from any angle and without makeup, she doesn't care. But, and I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan of filters. I hate them. I hate filters and I hate Photoshop. They're the mains of, existence for me right now. And don't even get me started on AI. Do not get me started on AI because I'll pop a blood vessel and have an aneurysm right now. So,
well,
but
we don't want that to happen. So,
yeah, not live. Just wait. Wait till I'm off. Anyway, so that's our, I guess that's our topic for this evening, was the so-called higher education and how far it has fallen.
Yeah, higher education.
Higher education. Yeah,
oh, anyway.
And me, I'm a Pollyanna. I will try to look for any kind of redeeming quality. I really do. I just don't see it in these, studying Harry Styles lyrics, studying Taylor Swift, studying Beyonce, studying Miley Cyrus. I just don't see it. I don't see anything where I would pay $100 per credit hour to sit in a room and listen to somebody fangirl over some singer. I can't. I can do that at home for free. And I do it at home for free, but I don't, not for Taylor Swift or Miley Cyrus or whatever his name is, Styles. It makes no sense for me. And this is what it is. It really is about fangirling for this particular artist. Because the lyrics are there. And if you listen to what the performer is saying about the song, you kind of get a gist of what he or she is trying to say through those lyrics. Sometimes they'll tell you straight out, it's like the lyrics are there for you to interpret how you want. And that's the mark of a good songwriter. Bernie Taupin comes to mind. He and Elton John wrote some of the best lyrics known to man. And Bernie always said, I write them, but you interpret them. That's for you to do. It's whatever it speaks to you, the listener. And that's the mark of a good songwriter. So to take a class to dissect the lyrics when the writer says it's whatever you want them to say to you, kind of defeats the purpose. You're literally paying $300 for a semester to sit and fangirl over a particular artist that doesn't even know you exist. But okay, whatever. Oh, Mike, thank you. I hate that picture. All right. Well, and with that, we come to the close of our show.
Dun, 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 dun. So where can folks find you?
Well, no, you go first.
I don't like going first. I have to talk for everyone.
You go first.
Fine.
You go first.
Be that way. All right. So you can find me. I'm off tomorrow. Well, radio-wise, I'll be doing hopefully hella writing tomorrow because I have catching up to do. So hopefully you guys can see all the stuff I put out tomorrow, and then I'll be playing catch up on writing again on Sunday. But you can also find me Sunday night as the Closing Act Now America Off the Rails show. Same show, new time, new night, Sunday nights, and then back Monday through Friday next week, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, doing the Rick Robinson show, producing for you guys on Tuesday, and then doing whatever this next Wednesday. Speaking of which, I don't mean to put you on spot on the air because I meant to ask this earlier. Any chance you want to fill in for Stacy on Wednesday? And you feel free to say no, because if not,
oh, what time Wednesday?
That'll be it's earlier than Aggie time. It would be 6 your time.
I think I can do that.
Yeah, because she's going to be off again, and I was like, I meant to text you earlier, but there was lots of things I meant to text you about earlier today, and I was buried in news.
Yeah, just text me whenever
But
to
yeah,
remind me so that I don't lose my mind.
Well.
Oh, by the way, Wednesday is Ash Wednesday. I will be very prickly because it's a day of fasting for me.
Can I retract my invitation? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just letting you know right now.
And then
it is. And of course, Valentine's Day falls on Wednesday too. So it's kind of like God is laughing at me.
Yeah.
I can't even have my chocolate, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, so the other bad news is I will not be making the trip to Mardi Gras this year. Too many things fell through, so I'm going to try again next
year. Okay. Well, it doesn't have to be for Mardi Gras. You can just,
Oh, I know. I'm still planning on making a trip down later, probably in the next few months. Just roommate's truck blew up, so now we're back down to a single car, so I don't really feel like going out of state and leaving her here with no transportation. I don't really want to take her with me either, if I'm being honest, which is why we're not doing it. Anyway, so then after whatever, we will be doing the Conservative Curmudgeon radio show, and then the Ladies of the Red Wine, and then Ordy and I will be back to close out your night doing the Rick and Ordy show. That is all starting at 7 p.m. Eastern and running all the way through 11 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday night. Then Thursday night, I will be back doing Jen and Rick at 10 p.m. Eastern. Friday night, unless something changes, I'll be back here with you, and then next Saturday night is Juxtaposition. And then again, when I'm not doing all that, you can find me as the executive producer for the Loftus Party podcast, which usually drops on Tuesdays. You can find me as a contributor on the Loftus Party website, the MisfitsPolitics.com website, and Twitchy.com website, and possibly coming soon to Newsmax. Just saying. And other than that, I'm also on all social media platforms, most of which under @RowdyRick73, except for Insta, which is RowdyRick1973, because I got locked out of the old account with the right name and had to start a new one. Still haven't really figured out what I'm doing with Insta yet, though, so it's not like it really matters much. And that's it. I'm done talking. Where can folks find you so I can breathe?
You can find me at Aggie Regan and at Aggie the Barkeep over on X. You can find me 8:30 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday nights doing the Cocktail Lounge with the ever suave Brad Slager. 8:30 p.m. Eastern, Friday nights doing He Said, She Said with you of late. Once a month, our last Wednesday of every month at 8 p.m. Eastern, the guys get together for Toxic Masculinity, and I join in on the fun, bringing the drinks for the Babe of the Month, and that's Orty, you, and G, and Andrew, and myself, and whoever the Babe of the Month happens to be. And this Monday is our next installment. Jeff and I have a book podcast called Spirited Books, and I'm under the gun to finish my book. But it should be a lot of fun. Also on Aggie Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, this coming Monday. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for joining us, you guys. And we hope you have a lovely evening tonight.
So what you're saying is Jeff gets to hang out with you next week before you're cranky. I see how it is.
Yes. Jeff gets me next week before anybody else.
I see how it is.